The family group chat notification pings on my phone during my morning coffee. My younger brother Jake's message hits like a slap. Don't come to the weekend barbecue. My new wife says you'll make the whole party stink. Below it, a string of laughing emojis and likes from mom, dad, even my sister Sarah. 20 years of family gatherings, and now I'm banned because Jake's new bride thinks I'm embarrassing. I stare at the screen, my coffee growing cold, feeling that familiar ache of being the family disappointment. I type back simply, understood. I set my phone down and lean back in my kitchen chair, watching steam rise from my untouched coffee. The message stings more than I want to admit, but it's nothing new. I've been the family black sheep for so long that I almost forgot what it felt like to hope for acceptance. Growing up, Jake was everything I wasn't. 3 years younger, but somehow always 3 steps ahead in our parents' eyes. While I struggled with grades and social awkwardness, Jake was the star quarterback who dated the homecoming queen. While I dropped out of the expensive private college after 2 years because I couldn't handle the pressure and debt, Jake graduated from state school with a business degree and a beautiful wife named Kelly. That marriage lasted 4 years. Kelly was sweet, genuine, and actually treated me like family. When they divorced, I lost more than a sister-in-law. I lost the only person in our family who ever asked about my dreams. Now there's Amanda. Jake married her 6 months ago after a whirlwind romance. She's a former real estate agent who carries herself like she's high society, even though she grew up in the same middle-class neighborhood we did. From the moment I met her at their engagement party, she made it clear that she had plans to elevate the family's social circle. Apparently, that elevation doesn't include me. The painful truth is, I stopped trying to impress my family years ago. After dropping out of college, I moved 4 hours away to start fresh. I stopped coming to most gatherings because sitting at the kids' table at 25 years old, listening to my parents brag about Jake's latest promotion at the car dealership, was slowly killing something inside me. When I do visit, it's like being a ghost at my own family reunion. Dad talks around me, not to me. Mom asks polite questions about my office job, but her eyes glaze over when I try to explain what I do. Sarah treats me with the careful kindness you'd show a recovering addict, like I might relapse into failure at any moment. Jake gets praise for everything. New car? Look how successful he is. New house in the prestigious Oakwood subdivision? We're so proud of our boy. Membership at the country club? He's really making something of himself. Me? I get tolerant smiles and subject changes. Amanda's influence has made everything worse. Since their wedding, she's been subtly pushing me further to the margins. Comments about surrounding ourselves with positive energy and building connections that matter. At Jake's birthday party 3 months ago, she actually suggested I might be more comfortable leaving early because the conversation was getting too sophisticated for me. I wanted to tell her that I was perfectly capable of following a discussion about municipal bonds. But what was the point? She'd already decided I was the family's weak link. The BBQ rejection shouldn't surprise me, but it does hurt. I genuinely wanted to make an effort with Amanda, to maybe rebuild some bridges. I even bought a nice bottle of wine for them, something I'd been saving for a special occasion. I look at my phone again. The family group chat is buzzing with excitement about the barbecue. Mom posted a picture of her famous potato salad. Dad's talking about firing up the grill. Sarah's asking what she should bring. Nobody acknowledges my absence. Not one person says, "That's too bad," or "We'll miss you." It's like I was never invited in the first place. I finish my coffee, now cold, and make a decision. This is the last time I let them make me feel small. I've built a good life away from their judgment, and it's time I started acting like it. Sunday morning arrives gray and drizzly, perfect weather for a pity party. But instead of wallowing, I stick to my routine. I'm at the gym by 7. My usual time at the private fitness club downtown. The staff knows me by name here. Marcus at the front desk asks about my weekend plans, and I tell him I'm keeping it low-key. After my workout, I stop at Greystone Coffee, the upscale place near my apartment where the baristas know my order by heart. Double shot Americano, no sugar, extra hot. The kind of place Amanda would probably love if she knew about it, with its exposed brick walls and artisanal everything. My phone buzzes constantly with updates from the barbecue. Group photos start rolling in around noon. Jake playing the perfect host, flipping burgers with a beer in his hand. Amanda in a designer sundress, looking like she stepped out of a magazine. Mom and Dad beaming with pride at their golden son and his beautiful wife. I'm not bitter about missing it. Not anymore. Instead of dwelling on family drama, I head to where I spend most of my Sundays. The Riverside Youth Center, on the east side of town. The building isn't much to look at, a converted warehouse in a neighborhood that gentrification hasn't touched yet. But inside, it's alive with possibility. Kids from broken homes, single-parent families, rough neighborhoods. Kids who remind me of myself at their age, feeling like the world has already decided they don't matter. I've been volunteering here for 8 years, ever since I got established in my career. Started just helping with homework. But now, I mentor kids who are aging out of the foster system, teaching them financial literacy and job interview skills. Today I'm working with 3 teenagers on their college applications. Destiny, who wants to study nursing despite everyone telling her she's not smart enough. Carlos, whose essay about overcoming his father's addiction made me tear up the first time I read it. And Trevor, who's brilliant with numbers but convinced he'll never afford college. Mr. Woodrow, Destiny says, looking up from her laptop, you really think I can get into nursing school? I know you can, I tell her, and I mean it. You've got the grades, the heart, and the determination. That's more than most people start with. These kids don't see me as a disappointment. They see someone who believes in them when nobody else will. Someone who shows up consistently, who listens to their dreams without rolling his eyes or changing the subject. Around 4, my phone rings. It's Marcus Williams, one of my first mentees, who graduated 3 years ago and is now finishing pre-med at the State University. Mr. Woodrow, his voice is excited. I got into the summer research program at Johns Hopkins, the one you helped me apply for. Marcus, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. Man, you saved my life. You know that, right? If you hadn't pushed me to believe I could do more than just survive, I'd probably be working construction like my dad. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you helped me see I had options. After we hang up, I sit in the center's quiet lobby, watching kids play basketball through the window. This is my real family. These relationships built on mutual respect and genuine care, not obligation or blood ties. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Sarah. Amanda's been asking weird questions about your job all day. Like, really specific stuff about where you work and what you do. Thought you should know. I stare at the message, a cold feeling settling in my stomach. Amanda's been investigating me? Why would she care about my job unless she found something that made her nervous? I think back to our last conversation at Jake's birthday. She'd asked where I worked, and I'd given her my usual vague answer about downtown. She'd pressed for details, but Jake had interrupted before I could respond. What did she find? And more importantly, what is she planning to do about it? Monday morning, I'm back in my element. I arrive at the Meridian Financial Center at 7:15, same as always. The 40-story glass tower dominates the downtown skyline. Its lobby filled with marble and modern art that costs more than most people's houses. Good morning, Mr. Thompson, says Patricia, the receptionist who's worked the building for 15 years. Your 8 o'clock with Senator Morrison's chief of staff got moved to 9:30. Thanks, Patricia. Any messages? Your assistant has them upstairs, sir. I take the executive elevator to the 40th floor, corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. The view never gets old. On clear days, I can see all the way to the mountains. My office reflects 12 years of hard work. Awards from the Chamber of Commerce line one wall. Photos with mayors, governors, and senators fill another. Not because I'm political, but because urban development requires political cooperation. The expensive art came later, after I could afford to buy pieces from local artists whose careers I wanted to support. Morning, Woodrow, says Jennifer, my assistant, as I pass her desk. Coffee's ready, and your 9 o'clock wants to move up to 8:45 if possible. That works. What's the agenda looking like? The downtown riverfront project needs your final approval. The mayor's office wants to discuss the affordable housing initiative. And you have that conference call with the Portland development team at 2. Jennifer's been with me for 5 years. She knows my schedule better than I do, anticipates problems before they arise, and never asks personal questions. Professional boundaries matter in this business. I settle into my routine, reviewing overnight emails, checking market reports, preparing for meetings that will determine how millions of dollars get invested in our city's future. It's complex work that requires understanding economics, politics, environmental impact, and social dynamics. The kind of work that would probably bore my family to tears if they ever bothered to ask about it. My phone buzzes. Jake's number. Woody, how's my brother doing? His voice has that forced cheerfulness he uses when he wants something. I'm fine, Jake. What's up? Listen, Amanda and I are downtown this morning, running some errands. We thought we might swing by and see your office. Finally check out where my little brother works. Little brother. I'm 32 years old. And Jake still calls me little brother because he's physically bigger, even though I'm 3 years older. I'm pretty busy today, Jake. Maybe another time? Come on, we're already in the area. Amanda's really curious about what you do all day. Won't take long, I promise. I can hear Amanda in the background, her voice sharp with insistence. She's the one pushing this visit, not Jake. My stomach tightens as I remember Sarah's text about Amanda asking questions. Which building are you looking for? I ask, though I already know they'll find me. Someplace called Meridian Financial? Amanda looked up your address online. Of course she did. I'm on the 40th floor. Tell security you're here to see Woodrow Thompson. Thompson? Since when do you go by Thompson? It's my middle name, Jake, my professional name. Actually, it's our grandfather's name, the one I took when I wanted to distance myself from family expectations. I'll see you in a few minutes. I hang up and take a deep breath. Jennifer looks up from her computer with concern. Everything okay? My brother and sister-in-law are coming up. This might get interesting. Want me to reschedule your morning? No, let's see how this plays out first. 20 minutes later, Jennifer's phone buzzes. Sir, there's a Jake Thompson and Amanda Thompson here to see you. Send them back. I stand behind my desk, straightening my tie. The morning sun streaming through the windows creates dramatic lighting across the office. My diplomas and certifications catch the light on the wall behind me. The cityscape spreads out 40 floors below. I hear their voices in the hallway before I see them. Amanda's heels clicking on marble. Jake's nervous laughter as Jennifer leads them to my door. Right through here, Jennifer says, opening the heavy wooden door to my office. Amanda steps in first, her eyes scanning the room, and then she sees me. Behind the massive executive desk, city skyline framing me like a photograph, wearing a suit that costs more than most people's monthly salary. Her face goes white, then red, then she screams, "Oh my God!" Jake pushes past her, confused. Amanda? What's wrong? It's just Woody's office, but I can see the exact moment Jake's brain catches up with his eyes. The corner office, the view, the awards, the photos with politicians and business leaders. The assistant, who called me sir, the obvious, undeniable truth that this isn't some mid-level cubicle job. Good morning, I say calmly, walking around the desk to greet them. Welcome to Meridian Financial. Jake, Amanda, what brings you downtown? Amanda is still staring, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Jake's looking around the office with growing confusion and what might be awe. Woody, he says slowly. What exactly do you do here? I'm Senior Vice President of Strategic Development. I help coordinate major investment strategies and urban development projects for the tri-state region. The words hang in the air. Amanda finally finds her voice. You actually work here? Like this is really your office? For the last 7 years, yes. I started lower in the company, worked my way up. Jake slumps into one of the chairs facing my desk without being invited. Why didn't you ever tell us? Before I can answer, my phone rings. Jennifer's voice comes through the intercom. Sir, Governor Patterson's office is holding for you about the infrastructure project. Amanda's face drains of color completely. Governor Patterson? I need to take this, I say. Please, make yourselves comfortable. We can talk more in a moment. I pick up the phone, keeping my voice professional. Good morning. This is Woodrow Thompson. The conversation lasts 5 minutes. Details about a $100 million statewide infrastructure initiative. Timeline discussions for legislative presentations, budget allocations, and environmental impact assessments. When I hang up, the silence in my office is deafening. Amanda looks like she might faint. The governor's call ends, and I turn back to Jake and Amanda, who both look like they've seen a ghost. Amanda's perfectly applied makeup can't hide the panic in her eyes, and Jake keeps looking around my office like he's trying to solve a puzzle. Sorry about that, I say, settling back into my chair. Monday mornings tend to be busy. The state's pushing hard on this infrastructure project, and we're coordinating the private investment side. Infrastructure project? Jake's voice comes out as a croak. Roads, bridges, public transportation, utilities. The kind of development that creates jobs and improves quality of life. My team handles the financial structuring for projects that are too big for any single municipality. Amanda finally finds words. How? How long have you been doing this? This specific role? 7 years. I've been with Meridian for 12 years total, started right after I left college. After you dropped out, Amanda corrects, her voice sharp with disbelief. After I left, I say firmly. I decided college wasn't the right path for me at that time. I started working nights as security while studying for my Series 7 certification. Turned out, I had a knack for understanding markets and municipal finance. Jake leans forward. Woody, I don't understand. Why didn't you ever tell us about any of this? The question hits harder than I expected. When exactly was I supposed to tell you, Jake? Between being ignored at Christmas dinner, or having my career dismissed as some office job every time I tried to explain what I do. But this is. He gestures around the office. This is huge. You're successful. You're doing important work. I've been doing important work for over a decade. The difference is that now you're seeing it. Amanda stands up abruptly, her designer purse clutched tight against her chest. I need to use the restroom. Down the hall to the left, I tell her. But she's already rushing out. I suspect she's not looking for a bathroom. She's probably calling someone, trying to figure out how to handle this new information. Jake and I sit in uncomfortable silence for a moment. Through the windows, the city sprawls below us. And I realize that from this height, you can see the car dealership where Jake works. It's a small building in a strip of businesses I helped approve for development 3 years ago. Woody, Jake says quietly, I feel like an idiot. You're not an idiot. Yes, I am. We all are. We treated you like you were the family failure. And meanwhile, you're up here running million-dollar projects and talking to governors. My assistant's voice comes through the intercom again. Mr. Thompson, you have that call with Mayor Rodriguez in 10 minutes. And the Portland team moved their call up to 1:30. Thank you, Jennifer. Jake looks stunned. Mayor Rodriguez? You work with the mayor? Urban development requires cooperation between private investment and public planning. I spend a lot of time working with city officials, making sure our projects serve the community's needs. What kind of projects? For the first time in years, someone in my family is actually asking about my work with genuine interest. Last year, we completed the downtown mixed-use development that includes 200 affordable housing units. This year, we're working on the Riverfront Park and Commercial District. The project the governor called about is a statewide transportation initiative that could bring thousands of construction jobs to our region. Jake shakes his head slowly. And we had no idea, because no one ever asked. And when I tried to explain, the conversation always shifted to something else, usually something about your latest accomplishment. Amanda returns, looking composed but pale. She's clearly made some phone calls. Her anxiety is barely contained behind a forced smile. So, she says, sitting back down with exaggerated casualness, this is quite an impressive office, Woodrow. I had no idea you were so established. I appreciate the sentiment, Amanda, but you made your opinion of my prospects pretty clear at Jake's birthday party. And yesterday, in the group chat. Her face flushes. That was just, we didn't know. You didn't know because you never bothered to find out. You made assumptions based on incomplete information and treated me accordingly. Jake looks between us, finally understanding the undercurrent of tension. What happened at my birthday party? Your wife suggested I might be more comfortable leaving early because the conversation was getting too sophisticated for me, I say calmly. Amanda, Jake turns to her with shock. You said that to my brother? I didn't mean it like that. I just thought. I mean, we were talking about investments and municipal bonds, and I have a master's degree in finance, I say quietly. I could have contributed to that conversation quite easily, but you'd already decided I didn't belong. The room falls silent except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic 40 floors below. My phone rings again. This time, it's my direct line. Woodrow Thompson. Woodrow, it's David Chen from the Zoning Commission. We need to discuss the Oakwood Commercial Development proposal. The vote is Thursday, and we want to make sure you're comfortable with the traffic impact assessments. I glance at Jake. Oakwood is where he lives, where his dealership is located. Can we schedule something for this afternoon? I'm in meetings this morning. Sure thing. 2:30 work for you? Perfect. Thanks, David. I hang up, and Amanda is staring at me with unconcealed alarm. Oakwood Development? That's where we live. Yes, it is. The Zoning Commission handles approval for all major commercial developments in the county. My firm provides impact assessments and financing recommendations. So you have influence over what gets built in our neighborhood? I provide expert analysis that helps city planners make informed decisions. It's not exactly influence, it's professional consultation. But Amanda's mind is clearly racing, connecting dots I can practically see forming behind her eyes. She's realizing that the man she spent 6 months dismissing and excluding has professional relationships that could affect her carefully constructed suburban lifestyle. Jake looks confused. What kind of development in Oakwood? A shopping and office complex where the old Peterson farm used to be. It'll bring about 300 jobs to the area and significantly increase property values for the surrounding neighborhood. Amanda's hands are shaking slightly. Property values? The preliminary estimates suggest a 15 to 20% increase over the next 2 years. Jake whistles low. That's huge for us. Our house value, the dealership location. I don't tell him that I've been quietly ensuring his business district gets priority consideration for infrastructure improvements. That the new traffic lights and road repairs that have helped his dealership's visibility came from recommendations I made to the City Planning Committee. Amanda excuses herself again, and this time I'm certain she's making more phone calls. Probably to her real estate friends, trying to understand exactly how much power the family failure actually has over her perfect suburban kingdom. Amanda returns from her second bathroom break looking like she's seen a ghost. Her perfectly styled hair is slightly mussed, and I can tell from her red-rimmed eyes that she's been crying. She sits down heavily, no longer bothering with her sophisticated pose. Okay, she says, her voice barely controlled. I think we need to have an honest conversation. I'm listening, I say. Jake looks between us, clearly sensing undercurrents he doesn't fully understand. Amanda, what's going on? You've been acting strange since we got here. She takes a shaky breath. I made some calls. To friends in real estate. To my former colleagues. I wanted to understand exactly who Woodrow is in this city. And I keep my voice neutral. You're not just some executive. You're the executive for development in this region. Your name is on half the major projects in the tri-state area. You sit on the board of the Economic Development Council. You have direct input on zoning decisions, tax incentives, infrastructure priorities. Jake's eyes widen. Woody? I do my job, I say simply. Your job, Amanda continues, her voice getting higher, includes oversight of the project that approved Jake's business district. The traffic studies, the zoning permits, the infrastructure improvements that have made his dealership so successful in the last few years. Jake turns to me with dawning realization. The new traffic lights that brought more customers down our street. The road widening that improved access to the dealership district. The subway expansion plans that will put a stop 3 blocks from my location. Those were all sound urban planning decisions based on traffic patterns and economic development needs, I say carefully. But you were involved in all of them? I provided analysis and recommendations, yes. Amanda stands up abruptly, pacing to the window. Do you know what I just learned? Your firm doesn't just provide recommendations. The City Planning Commission considers your assessments essential for any major development approval. If Woodrow Thompson says a project is financially unsound or will negatively impact existing businesses, that project dies. Jake's face has gone pale. Woody, my dealership expansion proposal, is sitting in my inbox, I admit. Has been for 6 weeks. I've been reviewing the environmental and traffic impact studies. The silence that follows is deafening. Amanda turns from the window to face me, and I can see her calculating, trying to figure out how much damage her behavior might have caused. You've had the power to help or hurt our business this entire time, she says slowly. I've had the responsibility to evaluate projects based on merit and community benefit. Personal relationships don't factor into my professional decisions. But they could, Amanda presses. If someone had treated you badly, been dismissive of you, excluded you from family gatherings. Amanda, Jake says sharply, what are you getting at? She whirls to face him. I'm getting at the fact that I've spent 6 months insulting and excluding the one person in your family who actually has the power to impact our future. Do you understand what that means? Jake looks at me with growing horror. Woody, tell me you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't let personal stuff affect business decisions, right? The question hangs in the air. For a moment, I let them both wonder. Let them feel a fraction of the uncertainty and powerlessness I've felt for years. Jake, I say finally, what do you think of me as a person? What do you mean? Do you think I'm petty? Vindictive? The kind of person who would abuse professional power for personal revenge? He considers this seriously. No, you've never been like that, even when we were kids. You're probably the most ethical person I know. Then you have your answer. Amanda sinks back into her chair, looking defeated. I've been horrible to you. Yes, you have. And you still approved the projects that helped Jake's business? I evaluated them on their merits. Jake's dealership serves an underserved area of the county. The expansion will create jobs and improve access to reliable transportation for lower-income families. It's good for the community. Jake's eyes fill with tears. Woody, I don't know what to say. All these years, you've been looking out for us, and we've been treating me like I was worthless. I finish. I'm so sorry. We all are. Mom, Dad, even Sarah. We just assumed. You assumed I was a failure because I didn't follow the path you expected. You never bothered to find out what path I actually chose. My assistant's voice comes through the intercom. Mr. Thompson, Mayor Rodriguez is on line 2. Tell him I'll call back in 15 minutes, please. Certainly, sir. Amanda looks up at me with something approaching desperation. What can we do? How can we make this right? That's up to you, Amanda. But I'll tell you what won't work. Suddenly pretending to value me now that you know I have professional influence. If the only reason you want a relationship with me is because you think it might benefit you, then we don't have anything to build on. That's not. She stops, realizing how transparent her motivations have been. Jake leans forward. Woody, forget about Amanda for a minute. What would it take for us to be brothers again? Real brothers? The question catches me off guard. For all his faults, Jake's always been genuine, thoughtless and self-centered sometimes, but not manipulative like Amanda. It would take you actually being interested in my life, not just when it's convenient. It would take family gatherings where I'm included in conversations, not tolerated on the sidelines. It would take you defending me when people like your wife decide I'm not worth their time. Done, he says immediately. All of it. I promise. And what about yesterday's barbecue? He winces. That was wrong. I should have stood up to Amanda. I should have told her that you're my brother and you're always welcome. Why didn't you? He looks down at his hands. Because I wanted her to be happy, and it seemed easier to exclude you than to deal with conflict. That's the truth. And I'm ashamed of it. I appreciate his honesty, even if it stings. And you, Amanda? What's your plan for making this right? She takes a shaky breath. I owe you an enormous apology. I made judgments about you based on incomplete information and family dynamics I didn't understand. I treated you terribly, and I'm sorry. Apology acknowledged. But that doesn't change anything unless your behavior changes. It will. I promise it will. I stand up and walk to the window, looking down at the city I've helped shape. Here's what I want from both of you. I want to be treated like a respected member of this family, not a charity case or an embarrassment. I want my achievements acknowledged, not dismissed. And I want the family dynamics to change permanently, not just until you feel comfortable again. Yes, Jake says immediately. Whatever you want. I don't want special treatment because you're afraid of me now. I want basic respect because I'm your brother and I deserve it. Amanda nods vigorously. Of course. Absolutely. I turn back to them. Then let's see what happens at the next family gathering. And let's see how you treat me when there's nothing you need from me. My phone rings again. The mayor doesn't like to wait. I need to take this call, I say. Feel free to show yourselves out. Jennifer can validate your parking. As they reach the door, Jake turns back. Woody, can we have dinner this week? Just us. No agenda. I want to hear about your life. Your real life. For the first time since they arrived, I smile. I'd like that. After they leave, I take the mayor's call. But my mind keeps drifting to Jake's expression when he realized how wrong he'd been. There was genuine remorse there, and maybe, just maybe, the foundation for rebuilding a relationship. Amanda, on the other hand, is scared. And scared people make calculated decisions, not authentic ones. We'll see which version of my family shows up for dinner. The rest of Monday passes in a blur of meetings and phone calls, but I can't shake the image of Amanda's panicked face when she realized who I really am in this city. By 5 o'clock, my phone is buzzing constantly with messages from family members who've apparently heard about the morning's revelation. Mom, honey, why didn't you ever tell us about your important job? We had no idea. Dad, son, Jake told us about your office. We should talk soon. Sarah. Oh my God, Woody. Jake called me crying. Said you're some kind of business mogul? Why didn't you ever say anything? I don't respond to any of them yet. After years of being ignored, I'm not about to jump just because they suddenly find me interesting. Tuesday morning brings an unexpected visitor. Amanda appears in my lobby at 8:15, looking significantly less polished than usual. Her hair is pulled back in a simple ponytail, her makeup minimal, and she's wearing jeans and a sweater instead of her usual designer ensemble. I know you're busy, she says when Jennifer escorts her to my office, but I was hoping we could talk privately. Without Jake, I gesture to the chair across from my desk. What's on your mind, Amanda? She takes a breath, and I can see she's been rehearsing this conversation. I want to be completely honest with you about why I acted the way I did. I'm listening. When I married Jake, I thought I was marrying up. Successful local businessman, nice house, good family. But the truth is, Jake's dealership is struggling. The margins are thin, the competition is fierce, and we're barely making ends meet despite appearances. This surprises me. Jake always presents himself as financially successful. Amanda continues. When I started asking around about you, trying to figure out why the family treated you like a disappointment, I discovered that you live in the Meridian Tower downtown. Do you know what apartments in that building rent for? I know exactly what they rent for, since I own mine. What's your point, Amanda? My point is that you probably spend more on housing in 1 month than Jake and I make in profit from the dealership. When I realized that, I started digging deeper. I found out you sit on boards, you're quoted in financial publications, you're connected to every major development in the region. And I realized that I've been treating someone who could change our entire life trajectory like he was beneath me. The irony is so thick, I can barely breathe. Her honesty is unexpected and more compelling than yesterday's panicked apologies. So what do you want from me now? I ask. I want to start over, completely. I want to know who you really are, not who I assumed you were. And I want you to know who I really am, too. Which is? She looks down at her hands. Someone who grew up poor and spent her whole adult life trying to climb the social ladder. Someone who married Jake partly because he seemed stable and respectable, and who's been terrified that people would discover I'm not as sophisticated as I pretend to be. Why are you telling me this? Because pretending hasn't worked out well for me, and because I think we might have more in common than I realized. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with a call from David Chen at the Zoning Commission. Woodrow, we need to move fast on that Oakwood decision. There's been a development. What kind of development? Peterson's grandson decided he wants to contest the sale. Claims the family didn't get fair market value. If he files an injunction, it could delay the project for months. I glance at Amanda, who's clearly trying not to eavesdrop but can't help overhearing. This affects her neighborhood directly. What do you need from me, David? Your financial analysis showing that the sale price was appropriate. If we can demonstrate that the purchase was fair and the development will benefit the community, we can get ahead of any legal challenges. I'll have my team pull the comps and get you a report by Thursday morning. Perfect. Thanks, Woodrow. I hang up, and Amanda is staring at me with wide eyes. That project affects our property values, she says quietly. Yes, it does. If it gets delayed or canceled, your house value stays flat. Jake's dealership doesn't benefit from increased traffic, and the neighborhood doesn't get the economic boost from new businesses and jobs. She's quiet for a long moment. You could probably influence how hard the city fights for this project. I could provide analysis that supports the community benefit, which is what I plan to do anyway because it's the right thing for the region, even after how I've treated you. Amanda, this isn't about you. It's about good urban planning and economic development. My job is to serve the community's interests, not settle personal scores. Her eyes fill with tears. You're a better person than I am. I'm a person who's learned that professional integrity matters more than personal feelings. She nods, wiping her eyes. Jake wants to host a family dinner this weekend. A real one, where you're the guest of honor. Will you come? I consider this. Will you be cooking? God, no. I'm a terrible cook. We'll order from that Italian place you like. How do you know what Italian place I like? I ask Sarah. I'm trying to pay attention now. Despite everything, I almost smile. I'll think about it. After Amanda leaves, I spend the morning working on the Oakwood analysis. The numbers are solid. The development will bring significant economic benefit to the area. More importantly, it will create jobs and affordable commercial space for local entrepreneurs. Around noon, Jake calls. Woody, I heard Amanda came to see you this morning. She did. How did it go? Better than I expected. She was honest about her motivations, which I appreciated. Good. Listen, I want you to know that I told Mom and Dad everything. About how we treated you. About what you actually do. About how wrong we've been. How did they take it? Mom cried. Dad got quiet. You know how he does when he's processing something big. Sarah's furious at herself for not figuring it out sooner. It's not about figuring anything out, Jake. It's about basic respect and interest in family members' lives. You're right, and we're going to do better. That evening, I get a text from Sarah. Can I take you to lunch this week? I owe you about a decade's worth of real conversations. And then, surprisingly, a call from Dad. Son, he says, his voice gruff with emotion. I owe you an apology. A big one. Dad. No. Let me say this. I was so focused on Jake's achievements that I stopped paying attention to yours. That's on me, not you. I'm proud of what you've built, and I'm sorry it took me this long to say it. The conversation is brief but genuine. Dad's not one for long emotional discussions, but his words carry weight. By Friday, the family group chat has completely changed its tone. Instead of photos of Jake's latest purchase or Amanda's social events, there are questions about my work, articles about urban development that people think I might find interesting, and genuine attempts to include me in family planning. The change feels almost too dramatic to trust, but I decide to give it a chance. Saturday's family dinner will be the real test. Not a crisis management meeting in my office, but a normal family gathering where I'll see whether this new dynamic is genuine or just fear-motivated performance. Saturday evening arrives with a crispness that hints at the changing season. I pull into Jake and Amanda's driveway at 6:30, holding a bottle of wine I actually want to share this time, not the gesture of hope I'd planned for last weekend's barbecue. The front door opens before I can knock. Jake stands there in jeans and a casual button-down, looking nervous but genuinely happy to see me. Woody? Come in, come in. Everyone's already here. Inside. The living room buzzes with family conversation, but it stops when I enter. For a moment, I worry. We're back to the old dynamic of awkward silence around the family disappointment. Then Mom rushes over and pulls me into a hug that lasts longer than any we've shared in years. My successful son, she whispers, and I can hear tears in her voice. I'm so sorry we didn't see you. Dad approaches next, extending his hand for a shake that turns into an embrace. Proud of you, son. Should have said it sooner. Sarah bounces over with her usual energy. Okay, I need to hear everything about your work. Like, everything. Start from the beginning, and don't leave out any details. Amanda appears from the kitchen, looking genuinely different. The designer facade is gone, replaced by someone who seems more comfortable in her own skin. She's wearing simple dark pants and a sweater, her hair in a natural style, minimal makeup. Woodrow, thank you for coming. I know it means a lot to Jake, to all of us. The dinner conversation flows differently than any family gathering I can remember. Instead of Jake dominating with stories about his latest achievements while everyone else provides admiring commentary, people ask questions about my work, my life, my interests. So you actually helped plan the riverfront park? Sarah asks. The one with the amphitheater where I take the kids? My team provided the financial modeling that made it viable. The park itself was designed by community input and city planners. But without your work, it wouldn't exist? Without the financial structure we developed, it probably would have remained an empty lot for another decade. Dad leans forward. What's the biggest project you've worked on? Currently? The statewide transportation initiative I mentioned. It's a $2 billion investment that will create thousands of jobs and connect rural communities to urban centers. $2 billion? Mom's eyes widen. And you help decide how that money gets spent? I help analyze which projects will provide the best return on investment for communities. It's about creating sustainable economic development, not just short-term construction jobs. Jake listens with genuine interest, asking follow-up questions that show he's actually processing what I'm telling him. Amanda takes notes on her phone, which seems odd until she explains. I want to remember these details so I can ask better questions next time. I spent so many months not caring about your life that I need to catch up. The honesty is refreshing. After dinner, as we're cleaning up, Jake pulls me aside. Woody, I need you to know something. Your business expansion analysis came through yesterday, the one for the dealership. I tense slightly. And it was the most thorough financial review I've ever seen. You identified problems with my original proposal that could have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your recommendations will make the expansion stronger and more sustainable. It's my job to provide accurate analysis. No, it's more than that. You could have rubber-stamped my proposal and let me make expensive mistakes. Instead, you protected me from my own poor planning, even after how I've treated you. He pauses, struggling with emotion. The cover memo said something like, "This expansion serves a genuine community need and will create local jobs, but the original financial projections require modification to ensure long-term viability." You saved my business, Woody. I provided professional analysis, Jake. That's all. That's everything. And you did it for someone who didn't deserve it. Amanda joins us, carrying coffee cups from the kitchen. I want to say something too, if that's okay. We both turn to her. This week, I've been thinking about why I acted the way I did toward you. And I realized it wasn't really about you at all. It was about my own insecurities, and my fear that people would discover I'm not as impressive as I pretend to be. She sets down the cups and looks directly at me. You never pretended to be anything other than who you are. You didn't name drop or try to impress people with your job title or your connections. You just did good work and treated people with respect, even when they didn't return it. Amanda, I'm not finished. I want to learn from you. I want to stop trying so hard to appear successful and focus on actually contributing something meaningful. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but I want to figure it out. 6 months later, the family dynamic has completely transformed. Sunday dinners rotate between houses, and conversations include everyone as equals. Jake regularly asks for advice about business decisions, not because he's trying to get special treatment, but because he genuinely values my perspective. Amanda enrolled in a nonprofit management certificate program and volunteers at the youth center where I mentor. She's discovered she has a talent for fundraising and event planning, and she's channeling her social skills toward actually helping people instead of just climbing social ladders. Mom and Dad make an effort to understand my work, asking thoughtful questions and sharing articles they think I might find interesting. They've started treating all their children's achievements with equal pride. Sarah and I have monthly lunch dates where we talk about everything we missed during the years of surface-level family interactions. The most meaningful change is that our family gatherings now include the people who matter to us. Amanda invited Marcus, my former mentee, to Easter dinner after learning about his success in medical school. Jake brings colleagues who've become genuine friends, not just networking connections. At Sarah's birthday party last month, as I watched my nephew play with Amanda's fundraising silent auction items, transforming them into imaginary spaceships, I realized something important. Family isn't about blood relations or shared history. It's about people who see your worth, support your dreams, and choose to include you in their lives because they genuinely want you there. I found that first with the kids at the youth center, then with my professional colleagues who respected my work, and finally, surprisingly, with my actual family, once they decided to see me clearly. The BBQ incident that started this whole journey seems like ancient history now. But sometimes I think about that Saturday morning when I read Jake's text and felt that familiar ache of being unwanted. That ache taught me something valuable. Your worth isn't determined by other people's ability to see it. You can build a meaningful life with people who appreciate you, while leaving the door open for others to earn their way back in. Some people will surprise you with their capacity for growth. Others will reveal their limitations. Both outcomes teach you something important about relationships and self-respect. The family group chat buzzes constantly now with photos of everyone's achievements, thoughtful questions about each other's lives, and genuine expressions of support. Last week, when Amanda posted about her nonprofit certification ceremony, the first comment was from Dad. Proud of you for finding your calling. Jake's dealership expansion opened 3 months ago, creating 12 new jobs in our community. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, he introduced me to the mayor as my brother, who taught me what real success looks like. But perhaps the most satisfying moment came when Trevor, one of my mentees, got accepted to engineering school with a full scholarship. At his graduation party, he told the crowd, "Mr. Woodrow showed me that where you come from doesn't determine where you're going." His mother hugged me afterward and said, "Thank you for seeing what he could become when everyone else saw what he was." That's the real lesson from all of this. Sometimes you have to create your own family from people who choose to see your value. And sometimes, if you're patient and clear about your boundaries, your original family might learn to see it too. The important thing is never accepting less than you deserve while you wait for others to recognize what you're worth. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been underestimated by people who should have supported you? How did you handle the situation, and what did you learn about your own worth in the process? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story resonated with you, please like this video to help others find it. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself and finding your true value, and share this with someone who needs to hear that their worth isn't defined by other people's recognition. Thank you for listening to this journey with me, and remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to accept being treated as less than you are. Here's to building relationships with people who see your light and choose to honor it.